Welcome to Charting Change in Legal. I'm your host, one of your hosts, Caroline Hill. I'm the editor of Legal IT Insider, and I've been given the honor of opening this podcast by my esteemed colleague.
Ari Kaplan. I am an analyst who covers the legal industry, and this is, I would think, Caroline, our ILTA pre-show, if you
This is
will.
our opening.
With ILTACON coming up in a few days, I'm very excited. I'll look forward to seeing you in person, and also, it's such a great part of the year. It really is a an excellent way to see what has happened up till now and what people expect to happen through the rest of the year. So it's at a perfect time, and I feel like there's a lot of energy in the industry right now.
Huge amount of energy. I was trying to explain to somebody. I've been trying to this is probably one of my busiest weeks of the year, much like you and everybody who is involved in ILTACON. And then next week is ridiculous. Everyone kind of braces themselves. It's really funny. And I moan about it, but I love it. And I've been trying to be more positive and rather than going, oh, it's so busy, just think, yeah, it's so much excitement. But I was trying to explain to somebody who's not in the sector about this whole couple of weeks and how everybody's on the same path. Everybody's getting ready, whether it be because they're a vendor and they've got tons of events, or they've got their booth, or they're a speaker, or there's so many. Everyone's just kind of braced a little bit for this week, and I think you're right. I think there's a lot of energy and excitement actually this year.
Really have to give credit to ILTA and its CEO, Joy Heath Rush, because ILTA has evolved over the years. And there once there was a time when there were a handful of legal technology conferences, and ILTA was one of them. But now there are so many, and they're excellent. There is a lot of excellent programming that takes place in the industry, and yet still ILTA holds a very prominent place in this sector. And I think part of it is it draws a really smart, diverse, interesting, and influential crowd. But also, it just the conversations will be meaningful and timely, and people have been talking about what they expect to hear and to see. And certainly, I've talked to lots of buyers who are very curious to see who's exhibiting, who's going to be speaking, and what the conversations will focus on. Clearly, they will focus on practical application, obviously, of generative AI and other tools that will help law firms prepare for their future, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, it's interesting you say about the sea. So two things. So yes, it is curious because now you've got some really big conferences coming into the sector, but I think and they all attract a different crowd, and ILTA does attract a senior crowd. They get the CIOs, the CTOs, in the tech world, and the really senior people in knowledge, and I think one of the reasons, one of the things they do well that people love and people have talked to me really passionately about over the years is that community and that real learning. It's not just about the day, it's about what goes on behind the scenes. And it's about that knowledge sharing that they do really well, and they create that real community. And I know I've spoken to people in the sector who credit ILTA with their careers, right? They say, I learned everything I needed from from peers and from ILTA in order to become, in that case, a CIO. So it's a really valuable thing, particularly right now. That knowledge sharing and that support I think that they give. I think everyone feels really supported at a really pivotal time.
And ILTA is going to be doing a launch and book signing for Lessons in Leadership. It's a new book, and I was lucky to interview some of the contributors from my podcast. And as you say, they talked about the power of community and the ability to find support and ideas and just to lift up the community, and in doing so, elevate the caliber of technology at the firms at which they work. So, yeah, really excited about it. I encourage people to schedule their time that,
Yeah, it's
you know,
too late for that, Ari. If they're
yeah,
not scheduled,
it's never
oh
too
my
late, but
God.
you really need to
Yeah,
just
you
figure
should have
out a way to
scheduled.
organize it. That's right. That's right.
What
Organize it.
can I ask? So what can we like is can you give us a sneak peek from the book like that for people that aren't haven't sort of heard much about it?
My understanding is that especially from several of the interviews that I've conducted, and I'll do several more on site, but it shares from some of the most prominent leaders in legal tech and legal services who are involved in the ILTA community, all of the different lessons that they have learned, whether those lessons are to find ways to connect more deeply with people in the community, to find ways to be more innovative, but through from an experimental perspective where you encourage people to take action even though you were not certain of the result. And also, there was some discussion of succession planning and leadership. And this is a big challenge for law firms right now. Law firms are experiencing this interesting generational shift where some of the leading rainmakers and often founders of the firm at the mid-size level are at a point where they've really achieved remarkable success and they're at a point in their career where they're trying to transition, and firms are dealing with that on top of the existential issue of, if I have a piece of technology that is so much better and only getting better at doing some of our work and is making us more efficient, what does that look like from a time standpoint and a value standpoint and a client relationship standpoint? One thing that I've heard is clients and law firms coming to this conference together to collaboratively see what is available in terms of technology and also to hear what is happening in terms of use cases. So they together they can kind of create this much stronger connection as we sort of push forward into a increasingly unpredictable future in legal.
Yeah, super interesting. Yeah, I think it's going to be. I encourage, people. I don't always go to as many sessions as perhaps I should. I get, I have tons of meetings like you, but I'm really trying this time to really engage with the agenda and making sure that, people put a lot of time and effort into those sessions, and I think they're super helpful. I've gone through the app. Actually, the ILTA app is really helpful, and you can kind of add it. I find the scheduling such a headache. But you can add the sessions on the agenda directly into your calendar, or you can favorite them. It's a really good app. I'm sure people are familiar with it, and there's some really great content this year. I've looked through and put some stuff in my diary, and it's interesting because not always do I go through an app and go, oh, I've got a conflict of things I want to see at that particular time. Like, there was one at sort of 12:30 on or whatever day where there were three things that I would really like to go to. I think they've put a lot of effort in on the content, from some senior people. I want to hear personally. I do interviews with vendors a lot of the time, in terms of at ILTA, like briefings, but I also want to make sure I hear from the buyers, like you said, the buyers and the clients, and making sure that you're continuously engaging with them and hearing their voice and their struggles and their challenges and their successes. So I think this is I'm really excited about that.
It's important for attendees to acknowledge that the reality of coming back with endless ideas is probably not necessarily going to be productive, but that they should try to figure out what are the two or three or maybe five ideas or products that they feel like should be their objective. That's it. I mean, I think about that every time I go because you walk into an exhibit hall of any of these events, but ILTA especially, and it can be overwhelming. But I'll go in and try to think about a sector or individuals who I find particularly interesting or have whose content I've seen that I want to learn more about, and being a little bit more intentional is going to help. I'm going to be broadcasting the virtual lunch at the Definely booth at noon on a couple of days, and I'm also doing a run 6:30 on Wednesday. I know I will see you
I
there.
will be not there.
Everybody always said it's like the famous joke. Oh, I'm sorry I missed your run today. And I'm like, oh, it's tomorrow. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry I missed it tomorrow. That's like my favorite. But we do have some people who are hopefully are running. And it is, I will encourage also listeners who are going to be attending that it's a really nice venue and that you can walk along the water for a while. And so sometimes you just need to have some peace or have a walking meeting, which is probably even better with someone you haven't seen in a while. And it's a really nice venue. It's easy to navigate, easier than some others, at some events. So I think there's a lot to look forward to, and I'm really excited. I always like to see the my peers who are volunteers because it's such a like amazing thing to see this vision come to fruition after all these months and months of them working and speaking to, the other panelists about how, the content. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be great.
That's a really great shout about going and walking out, and getting out. I remember Ron Friedman, who you know well. He was one of the first people at an ILTACON to sort of, we had a meeting and he went, should we just go out? And we just sat on a bench and we were laughing. We looked like two old people just sort of like sat rocking a little bit. But that's a great shout. But can for your virtual lunch with so can people just show up to the Definely
Yes,
stand, or how
yes,
does that work? Because
they
I
can
might
sh
come.
Oh, amazing. I would love
Ah.
for people to come. Yes, so you'll show up to the Definely booth, let's say 5 to 12, and I will start broadcasting so people will dial in and we'll have some fun photos and maybe walk around a little bit and see the event. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to it. And so that'll be on probably on both days, the 12th and the 13th. So that's Tuesday and Wednesday.
Is it
And
better if people
hopefully.
dial in or come? Is it better if I suppose
Uh,
logistically you probably not want too many people all physically there.
yeah, it's a good point. I actually would love for it to be so crowded and populated. So show up noon. I'll be there. What's up? I'll have my microphone. It'll be amazing. Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, bringing my pink microphone to your virtual lunch.
I
That's
can't
all I'm
wait.
looking forward to now.
That's
That's
right. That's
all I
right.
can think about.
I have my blue microphone. I have to I have to go find it. I know I remember the big hand folks were very impressed with our microphones last year when we crashed their party. So
But on a more serious note, is there anything more? I'm hosting a Definely breakfast.
oh,
Super exciting because obviously I'm on the other side of the pond. So this is our second US event, and that's really exciting to let's thank a credit to obviously Definely and also my team who are amazing at helping to just get these things. There's a lot of logistics, as you know. So yeah, that's a breakfast, and we're just going to be talking about adoption. We're actually oversubscribed. I can't encourage people to come because we've got the privilege of being oversubscribed, which is fantastic. But we're going to be talking about some of the challenges and also opportunities of AI adoption and sharing, some of Definely's insights from working with the big and growing number of people that they're working with. So I'm super excited actually. We're talking a bit about agentic AI as well, which we haven't talked about, but I guess is going to be a big part of the conversation at ILTA this year.
well, when you actually sit down and speak with a CIO and other law firm leaders who are meaningfully leveraging agentic AI, it's it's really remarkable. And I hope people have that chance to hear from and to interact with those who are having this meaningful application of some of these tools. When is your breakfast?
Tuesday morning. So yeah, the Tuesday. It's super early, obviously. So 7:30 in the Westin. So if people did want to come, we I think people, I think we'll be perfect for numbers. So it's kind of early. So I imagine there'll be one or two people that oversleep. So we will be fine.
Who would
Hopefully
do
one of
that at a
them will.
conference?
Hopefully one of them will not
Impossible.
be me.
Yeah. I think when I have these runs at 6:30 in the morning, people are always surprised to see anyone else and also laughing about the fact that we're all up that early. But I'm telling you, when you have your breakfast early and when people show up early, it's really a really nice venue and it will be worth it.
I
So,
can't wait. I actually can't wait. And I'm a really morning person, as you know. A really morning person. I'm just a morning person. And I love having, that idea of having a chat over coffee as we pull our thoughts together for the day. Like sometimes I don't always have that much lined up at breakfast. So just having that sort of pulling together and sharing of ideas, and I think I can't wait. I actually can't wait. So yeah, super excited for that. And then I've got a ton of face-to-face meetings with people that are based in the States who I don't get to see apart from on a screen, and I absolutely love seeing them face to face. It's a long year, and you have tons of briefings, and I've got used to Zoom or Teams, and it's fabulous actually. But there's just nothing like sitting there and just, that we've talked about it lots of times, but that face-to-face contact, not contact, that face-to-face connection. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, yeah. And I hope I get some ideas. Like that's really what I'm hoping for. I hope that I come back with some ideas that I can share and some content that I can exchange with my peers and meaningfully contribute in some way. I'm hosting a dinner with DraftWise on Tuesday evening. So we'll have dinner and then we'll encourage people to run the next day. So I look forward
Oh,
to it.
yeah,
Yeah,
great show. You
that's
know what we after Ilta, our next one that we do, we should talk about some of the content, perhaps. Like actually, I'll bring back some sort of substantive content that we've
well,
perhaps
let's
some.
commit to three ideas. How
Yeah.
about that? We'll have
Okay.
three ideas, three interesting things that we saw. Maybe we can talk a little bit about who's giving what away. Was there a particular candy? I love that. I walked through and I was just like, what is this? Why would I need a frisbee? And so it'll be, although you can always use another charge. I'm like, how many different pens? So I look forward to it, Carolina. It's always a privilege to connect with you.
Oh,
I wish you safe travels
yeah.
and excited to take a picture with our microphones at the event.
I can't wait. And can I just say, and so instead of bringing, three key takeaways of like substantive, like something about agentic, we are gonna talk to you about what was on the stand and whether it was a frisbee or a shot. We're not gonna do that. We will actually have some like,
Candy galore. Anybody
candy
who
galore.
listens. That's right.
I can't wait to see you.
Yeah.
Thanks for chatting
And
as
I
well.
think and I think our listener will be there. He
Yeah.
sent me a note, so I look forward to seeing him. Anyway, you've been listening to Charting Change and Legal, the ILTACON pre-show, let's call it. Anyway, thanks so
See
much.
you there.
Bye.